Welcome to Write Your Book in a Flash with Dan Janal, the only podcast where you'll learn how successful people just like you have grown their businesses, expanded their influence, and made more money by writing a book. On each episode, you'll learn the inside secrets to help you create a book that can serve as a powerful marketing tool to skyrocket your business. I'm your host, Dan Janal. I help thought leaders, business executives, and entrepreneurs write their books. To find out more, go to writeyourbookinaflash.com. Welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome our guest today, Tamara S. Raymond. How are you, Tamara?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Dan. This is going to be fun.
Oh, it is going to be fun. You've been a client for a long time now, and now we get to see each other face to face and learn from each other, so I can't wait to get started. So, Tamara, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about your journey?
Sure. So I'm a certified leadership development coach and career strategist. And so what I do is I spent the last 15 years helping people with the powerful work of stepping in to the leader within. And what that basically means is I provide professional career and leadership development guidance to adults, and now through my book and my course, young people, who I call emerging leaders.
Cool. How did you get started with this?
Well, my penchant for coaching and helping others began as early as in my college days. I, was already interested in organizational psychology. So I ended up getting my master's in organizational sciences and then a graduate certificate in leadership coaching from the George Washington University. And later, I got certified in the Bertman method, which is leading behavioral and personality assessment. So professionally, I've already and always actually been drawn to careers in human resources, mentoring, coaching, consulting, that type of thing. So it was a natural segue to my business.
Perfect.
Innovative management consulting. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Great. Why did you decide to write a book?
Actually, it was not intentional to start off with. I wanted to make a difference for young people because with my own journey and hearing from others, the executives or even the CEOs or professionals who are at this point at middle management in their career or entrepreneurs, I would hear, oh, I wish I had known when, or if only someone had told me. And you can add your story to the end of that statement, right? And I thought, oh, well, how can I make a difference? How can I share information to as many people as possible and have it make an impact? And I thought, writing a book. But then I hate writing. So how's that going to work? And that's how the conversation to even begin writing the book surfaced. And I'm very, very happy at this stage in the journey that I did.
Great. So you said you hate writing. How did you write a book if you hate writing? And I'm sure many people listening have that exact same feeling. How did you get over this?
So I had to look at, well, if I don't really want to write, how can I make it work? And I started off by speaking. A friend of mine was like, well, why don't you just have conversations and we'll type it? I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So then I started recording myself, recording my ideas, my thoughts, and then typing it up because that helped me to stay sort of in the creative space without being interrupted by, oh, am I getting this punctuation right? Or, whatever else could show up in that moment. Now, if only I had known or stopped to think that there were people like you out there, this process would have been a lot simpler and smoother probably, but it was a nice learning curve, I must say. Getting my thoughts out there, figuring out what it is I do want to share with the world, and then recording it, really.
Right. What tips can you give us on how to record effectively? Because I tried doing that one time, and I just, it's one thing when I'm giving a speech or doing a PowerPoint presentation. I'm in the moment, it works, I'm funny, it's all great. When I sit down and say, okay, I'm going to dictate a blog post, I can't do it. How do you do this?
I make sure it's convenient.
You make sure it's what?
I make sure it's convenient,
Mm-hmm.
right? So whatever device I'm using, in my case, it was mostly my phone. I did have a recording device as well, but 9 times out of 10, ideas would come to me when I was out and about or getting ready for bed or, something that was outside of normal work hours when I'm sitting in front of a computer or have the device beside me. So it worked really well for me to have, you know, my phone or some sort of device that was easily accessible so I could just record it as I thought of it. I didn't want to forget, and then I could go back and elaborate or, whatever else I add, anything else I needed to add later on.
Great ideas. Um, Now, I know that when I look at a transcript of anything that I speak, even a transcript like this podcast, I have to spend a lot of time editing it because the way we speak and the way we write don't match up normally. What advice do you have for cleaning up your transcripts?
My advice is to not go the journey alone. you know, the worst person to edit your work is yourself. So I highly recommend reaching out to someone. But to start off with, I record it and then I reread it to just to make sure that it says what I really wanted to say. And then, you can have, whether it's a professional editor or a friend or someone, who you trust. Or in this case, if you have a handy dandy, book coach available, to help you go through and, edit and look for style or clarification, whatever else that you think you need help with. And the thing with people who are experts or professionals, they've been doing this for a long time and they may see something that you don't see, or in my case, many things. Even going as far as, ideas on the book cover or how the book should be structured or even the type of book. My publisher was very instrumental in helping me figure out, there's such a thing as a pocketbook. And that's what I want to do. The book targets young people. So in many cases, they don't want another encyclopedia or, 5-inch thick book to have to go home and read.
You bring up a good point here. People don't want to read textbooks, and I certainly agree with that. I've been telling people on these podcasts that people want to read a 20,000 word book that they can pick up on the plane in New York and finish it by the time they land in Los Angeles. They don't want to see a big, thick textbook. But a textbook of information inside your head. How did you decide what to put in the book and what to leave out?
My strategy was to put together the information that could stand alone and still get the results that I wanted them to be able to achieve. Right? So
Give us an example
step 1 through 10. So for example, right, my book, Careering: The Pocket Guide to Exploring Your Future Career. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, it's all about helping young people figure out what's next. So the first step would be to actually take a look at what you're interested in, explore, then take the steps needed to find opportunities that you can get experience in whatever area of interest you do have or discovered from the process. So you have this, you get more experience, and then here's how to apply, here's how to interview. So there are basic steps that would be helpful and that would be needed or critical, really, for them to go from, being completely confused to at least comfortable having an idea or have tried something new. Mm-hmm. So that's what went into the book. And then I had articles and blog posts that supplement that information, helps to, give additional support and experience or insights, as well as, additional how-tos then.
That's a great idea. Cool. So how have you used the book to get more business?
I look at the book as somewhat of an interesting business card. It is a glorified extension of a business card. Yes, I do want the information out there and to be able to make a difference. But in essence, a book, or what I've found the book did for me, is help to establish me as a subject matter expert, right, with a particular expertise that I can then share with others. So, in short, it gives me credibility in a very substantive way. And in as much as this seems a little crazy on some level to spend that much time, energy, and in some cases money on what you could consider, a business card, the impact it has made on not only me and my business, but the people who've had an opportunity to read the book based on the feedback I've gotten has been tremendous. The impact of having people find their passion and then be able to fulfill on that and make a contribution in the world has been inspiring, and it made it all worth it. So that's what I would probably say. And if I were to do the process again, which I just might, having experts, people who actually know about what it takes to publish a book, everything from the actual writing to, how to structure it in such a way that you could be make the impact you want to make. And in many cases, then how to market that book is key. I had Morgan James. I had a program from Tim Grohl, and then I met you, and that made a huge difference for me.
Very cool. So tell us about your experience working with a publisher, because some people self-publish, some people are wondering if they should go to a publisher or not. Why did you decide to go with a publisher instead of do it yourself? There are no wrong answers here, by the way.
Right.
So, yes.
Well, I decided to go with a publisher because I didn't want to deal with distribution. I didn't want to deal with, maybe trying to get my book into bookstores and things like that. So that's really why I went with a publisher. And at the time, I didn't have the bandwidth for the extensive research it would take, running a full-time business to take a look at, well, what would it take if I did that all myself? Now I know that self-publishing is very popular and, can be done really well and effectively. But at the time, I saw something that could be potentially overwhelming with everything I had going on, even with a team. And it's been great. Like, they've been very supportive. I can ask questions, get responses pretty quickly, and the added support of being able to call up and say, hey, have you ever come across this before? So there's someone who's been through it on the other end that I can have a conversation with.
Cool. Yeah, and that was Morgan James?
Yes.
Yeah.
Morgan James Publishing.
Yeah, they've done a lot of wonderful books, and they run a lot of their press releases through me, and they're a big supporter of my author marketing program too. So David Hancock is aces in my book. So I'm glad
and that's exactly how we met. Mm-hmm. I met you through Morgan James, actually.
Perfect. It's a small world, and we all help each other. Do you have any tips for working effectively with a publisher?
My biggest tip would be to take a step back and look at what you want to accomplish and what you want out of the relationship. So why are you going to a publisher in the first place? Is it for help with distribution? Is it for guidance? Do you just not want to have to deal with certain components of publishing a book? And then making sure that you get what you want from that relationship. So for me, what was very great about it is I did my research and I found out that there are a lot of things that working with Morgan James is beneficial for me in terms of, am I willing to, have someone else manage everything, the royalties, the process of distribution, that type of thing. And yes, I was, and very happy with that. You want to look at, the percentage of royalty that you're getting. You want to look at the amount of energy and effort that the publisher is going to put into helping you market your book, helping you, what other services do they provide? Do they help you by creating the cover, the book cover, formatting the actual book, the internal copy? Are they going to help you with everything from getting your ISBN number to getting it on the market? So, just things these are just questions that I asked, and I was very happy with the support I got from Morgan James around a lot of that.
Great, very good. Thank you. As we're wrapping up here, do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners when they think about writing a book?
I do. I think the key is to just get started. If you think you want to write one, try it. Just start. Even if it's a couple minutes a day, making notes here and there or recording yourself as you have particular thoughts, just get started. And as you move along, you'll start to have more questions, and definitely reach out to people who have either done it before or have the expertise to help guide you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Tamara, why don't you tell us a little bit more about who your perfect client is and how they can reach you?
Sure. My perfect client is, in my coaching world, a leader or executive who wants to make a continued impact in their organization, yes, but also in their community. So someone who wants to really grasp self-leadership and the impact that can have on the company's potential. And I have a lot of resources as well for young people in terms of online courses, blogs, and books. And you can get a lot of free information from me from my website at imcleaders.com. So that's www.im as in Mary, C as in Charlie, leaders.com. And on social media as well. My handle is at Tamara S. Raymond, and that's on all my social media platforms: Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's all at Tamara S. Raymond.
Fantastic. Thank you for being with us today, Tamara.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing your listeners one way or the other through my website, or if you have a question from anything I've said, please feel free to reach out.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening to Write Your Book in a Flash with Dan Janal, the only podcast that shows you exactly how people just like you have built their businesses by writing a book. If you'd like to write your book but don't know where to start, you can find great information at writeyourbookinaflash.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next week with another insightful interview to help you become a top business leader.